Hi everyone, my name is Phi Thuy Nguyen, founder of Agame Yoga and Meditation Center, coming to you with another segment of Do It Different. From parenting to business, from the bedroom to the boardroom, how to do your life differently so that you can enjoy a different kind of happy. I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest today. She is a woman who is very successful, very much known in the community. She is these pink stripes right here. We're sitting in her bedroom, snuggled up in her bed, and it's so great. So she has already achieved great success in her life. And a few years ago, she moved towards the substance part. And here to share with you her journey to cultivating substance, because as most people realize, having success alone is not enough. Having that substance and that inner connection with who we are and living and expressing our lives from that place is really what gives us meaning and true happiness. And so, without further ado, I'm going to turn the camera over to my dearest friend, Meredith Eicher, and let her share with you her journey from cultivating success to creating substance.
So hello, dear. Only Fee could get me to wear pajamas in my own bedroom and have a camera. So Fee and I were talking about success, and she said, "Guy, you've been so successful," and I said, "But what's really important with the concept of being successful is whether you have substance to go with it, and what's in your heart, and what lies in your soul, and what's in your spirit." And probably 6 or 7 years ago, I realized that success just wasn't enough, that I was missing something. And so I began that journey, and that journey has taken me different places. And what I have come to realize is that to be successful and to really enjoy success, there must be substance and what lies within. And so for me, that's about creating change, and it's about embracing good change and good positive change. And so for me, it's also about creating a space. And what type of space do you create? What type of space do you create in your heart? What type of in your mind?
Because it starts there in that darn mind.
That darn mind, that mind where we suffer so much.
Yeah, unnecessarily.
We create stories in our mind. So it starts in our mind, and starting to undo those stories that we're not enough.
Right.
And Brene Brown embraces that whole "Are you enough?" And I feel like that was the first hurdle to cross, to say I am enough, and what I do every day is enough, and I'm enough to put myself first, which is very hard to say.
Are you finding you're laughing more because of it?
Of course, I'm laughing myself. The fact I would be here with you is,
and we didn't plan this ahead of time, but I think we coordinated
very well. So it's not only about opening your mind, but it's about opening your heart.
Yeah.
And in opening your heart, you have to be willing to receive what others are trying to give to you. And so oftentimes we want to be the giver, and we don't want to let other people receive, or let us receive. Right. We want to be the giver, not the receiver.
And I think this is a big trap for capable women, Meredith. Women who can take care of themselves well as take care of others well, to stop, slow down, and say, it's okay to let others in. It's okay to receive. It's okay to be vulnerable enough to say, will you help me?
Right. And it's we rob the joy from other people by not allowing them to give to us. And if we won't receive that, we're robbing their joy. And even right now as we speak, I'm in the bedroom with Fee, and my neighbors are outside hanging my Christmas lights. And 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, that would have driven me crazy, that I wasn't out there leading it and orchestrating it and being the one that did it. I wouldn't have let anyone that helped me. And so it's really kind of neat. So I think opening your heart and to receive. And then the next, of course, is spiritual. something that was missing.
Creating space in your spiritual life is
exactly.
The next one, okay?
Exactly. Creating space in your spiritual life, which, what spiritual life? I had no spiritual life. It was all about success. And as a result of opening my heart to God's grace, something I knew nothing about 2 years ago.
Yeah. We think we can do it all and everything is under our control. And by golly, if it's not something
That's
we can
right.
control, we're going to try harder and
That's
control
right.
it even more.
Right.
Oh, even just saying that is exhausting.
Right. And if we can just open our hearts to that God's grace, and then it's about creating space, that beautiful space in your house. I used to say, I'm going to my house. I'm headed to the house. I'm headed to the barn. And now I'm happy to say that I'm headed home.
You're going home.
I come home, created a lovely space in my home.
It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
And it's been a transformation. And I think that creating a space that you're comfortable in brings you home. And if you create that space in your mind, and you create that space in your heart, and you create it spiritually and in your physical being, you become a woman of substance, not just a woman of success. And so...
Say that again, Meredith. That just sounded so nice.
It's a woman of substance.
A woman of substance.
And I'd rather be a woman of substance and lead with substance in my work than just be about the success. It's much more about substance than it is about success.
I just finished teacher training, and of course, the ladies who were in yoga teacher training, they were very stressed out and anxious because I pushed them a little bit, learning to teach a safe and a powerful class. And so there's a lot of knowledge to absorb. And what I shared with them, which is what you just said, is you've gotten so much substance out of this training. And once you have substance, success will follow.
Exactly.
Because you're living from that deep inner well. And there lies in true success, right? And then the technical stuff that you need to learn to do a job well, all that's going to come, right? We can always learn the technical stuff, and there's always more technical stuff to learn. But once we're connected to that deep inner place in the space of our minds, our hearts, our spiritual life, like you said, success is going to come. And so absolutely, I think it's much harder to flip to the other way, working really hard to build success. And then 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, and realizing, well, what's all this for? Sometimes it's a harder way to flip back. But you have done it very successfully.
I agree. It's hard to,
first, and
I agree. It's hard to flip.
Bedroom is amazing.
It's hard to flip back because
habit.
We put up a veneer and we get on the hamster wheel. And when we're on the hamster wheel and we have that veneer, we can be very successful, but something misses. And you wake up one day and you say, is this it? And I woke up one day and said, is this it?
Yeah.
And
I'm so glad you woke up that day.
I'm glad I woke up and started that journey.
Yeah. So how has your life been enriched? Of course, it is a journey. It is a process. None of us are done, right? But the journey of the last few years, how has that enriched your life and your relationships?
I think it's deepened my relationships. It's deepened relationships with clients. It's deepened relationships with my neighbors. It's within everyone that I touch. I'm more present in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not disconnected. I'm not thinking about the next list. It's your come from shifts. And I work with a group of CEOs, and one of them said, Meredith, that word come from, what are you talking about when you say come from? And I say, where in your heart are you coming from? Where are you grounded? What are you grounded in? And they roll their eyes, and then they say, you're right. And I always love that, of course. But so I think it's how it's enriched. It's your come from is shifted. Yeah. The way in which you show up is different. Yeah. And the way in which you express yourself becomes different. Even when you're working with a client on a financial problem or a problem in their office. Yeah. how you show up is different.
And
So.
you know, Meredith, I'm sorry, we are sitting the laptop on some pillows, and so we're moving around a little bit because we're not stiff beans, so the camera is adjusting, and you were not in part of that video, but you heard her. And one of the things I really appreciate about Meredith is she's one of those rare individuals who have or has the capacity to hold the big picture, as well as very acute and successful in the details. And most of us either has one or the other. We're either big picture people or we're in the nitty gritty details. And she's just one of those rare people. I can sit down with her, share an idea, and she totally gets in the big picture. And then she'll say, "Now, what about these steps?" I'm like, and I love her for that. Yes, it's part of it. And that is wonderful. So to recap, you know, she gave us really 4 beautiful, easy steps to begin to build substance in our lives. The first is to create change at the level of the mind. And at that level, what you say is to know that I am enough, I'm deserving, is really the new tape we want to play in our mind. Not when I get there, when I accomplish this, when I do that, because I'm not enough now, I've got to add more to my resume to get to that enough place. I'm enough right now, and really change the space of the mind for that substance to be allowed into our mind. Okay.
Nice recap there. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
So number 2 is the space of the heart. And in the heart, we want to allow people to come in, to say yes to help, and even to learn to ask for help, to receive. Absolutely. And, you know, Meredith says, you know, while we're in here all snuggled up in comfort, her neighbors are outside hanging her Christmas lights. I love it. And the joy that we rob others from not allowing them to help us, because they peeked in through her bedroom window.
They did.
We had a good laugh. One came through her door because it did not sound like we were working, because we were laughing really loud. And so that is joyful. And if you hadn't opened your heart to allow that space to occur and for this to be, we would not have shared that joy with other people. And I'm really impressed. I want to learn that technique where my neighbors show up to do my Christmas decorating. I'm bound down to you on that one. And then the third step is to create space in your spiritual life.
Yes.
And there is to let grace come in, that you don't have to do it all. I don't have to do it all. That there is a force that is so much greater than my individual will.
Yes. It's not my will. It's not Meredith's will. I used to think
really
it was.
Hard, though.
I used to think it was, but it's not.
And finally, to allow that space to unfold in your home. Because our inner home is a reflection of our outer home.
Correct.
And our outer home is a reflection of our inner home. And that integration comes together.
Yes.
I absolutely love it.
You're awesome. You're awesome.
So I think this is coming at a perfect time. We're getting ready for the holidays.
Yes.
And for people to really connect to who they are during the holiday season. And let this holiday season be one of substance. You know, I used to live from the place where I contort myself to show up and be the person that the environment expects me to be. And that's where I feel like I'm living, you know, 5 different lives, and I'm so scattered and fragmented because I'm living from the space of success. Oh, if I were to be success, then this person would want me to look a certain way, do a certain thing, speak a certain way. And then there was disconnect. If we can cultivate that substance and live from substance, and I get to show up in this space and in that place with those people, then it's always me, and there's unity in that.
Yes.
And I don't have to feel so fragmented.
There's peace.
There's peace.
There's peace in that.
Like peace.
Yes.
And so I hope that this journey that Meredith has so eloquently shared with us can be a springboard for you to really look at the holiday season and do your Christmas season differently, or your holiday season, whatever tradition you follow, and how you celebrate this holiday season. Allow it to be substance and not run all over the place getting all these crazy gifts that most of us don't even need.
Right.
And to clear this space inside to allow grace to come in and allow our relationships to deepen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's fun.
I love you.
I love you too.
I appreciate it. So if you are an executive looking for substance in your life, please contact Meredith. She can so help you from her abilities, both professional, personal, as well as her life experience. There's so much here that you
Thank
can
you.
receive. So Meredith, how can they get a hold of you?
Meredith.Eicher, Eicher, at Vistage, Vistage, chair.com, or 225-241-6685.
There you have it. Send Meredith an email, and we would love to hear comments, questions, and suggestions from this video. So please leave your comments and questions in the comment box below. Thank you so much, and we both would love to hear from you.
Yep.
Bye.